In this video, we'll discuss something that romance writers think a lot about, which is how long should a romance book be if you publish online? This question is something that everyone asks, and depending on what genre you're in, there is different answers for different levels. However, there is one thing that's pretty much the same. That is, having a ballpark number helps you write your book. Romance books' word count vary slightly depending on the subgenres. For example, Gothic books are shorter than paranormal books. It just happens to be that way when you go through and look at the different books that are currently online. And if you check out the different subgenres, it could also be because the way the books are set up. So they do vary ever so slightly. With this idea, your page count should include what is the price point of which you expect to see the book at. Like, how much money do you think your readers are willing to pay to read your book? Where's the competition currently in the subgenre that you're trying to place your book? And how hard will the competition be when it comes to the price point? If you're looking to get $3 a book or $2.99 and everyone else is at 99 cents, you're going to be missing out on a lot of sales. Considering where the competition is currently at is very important. Then there is the issue of the storyline. Page count should never be a priority over your story and the content of sharing your characters with your readers. You need to convince your readers to buy your book based on the complete fantasy of your romance book. The storyline needs to be one of the biggest priorities when you consider page count. Now let's take a look at the average romance book online. And this is very important to mention that the average is all the subgenres together. On average, a typical romance book is between 15 and 20,000 words. A typical 5-part book series is roughly 100,000 words. Now, it's important to point out that this figure does not include books that are currently on the bestseller list of any print publishing house. Those books are different, and you'll see those books have 50 to 60,000 words for each book. They also have a great pull when it comes to printed word getting on paper and then moving it over to electronics. This doesn't include books that are in romance series. Now, what we mean by that is when you look at a typical romance book between 15 and 20,000 words, we didn't take an average series or of 5 books, see that one was 15,000 words, one was 20, and one was 70, and average that out. We did that with individual books. We did not include books for teens or young adults. That is an entirely different category on to itself. And there were a few other unusual discrepancies that we just discounted to make sure that we could have a fair assumption for the average typical romance book. You know, the average book length isn't all about the story, and that's sometimes where romance writers make the mistake thinking that they need to write 20,000 words all about the characters. Frankly, that doesn't happen very often, and here's why. When you break your book down, you will notice that there are different categories and different sections that build in and build up your story, as well as your book word count. For example, a lengthy foreword or introduction to your characters or a preamble to your situation always brings in word count. Your table of contents, each and every title and subchapter will be counted, and that brings up your word count. Your contact information at the end. If you're looking to do a back-end mailing list, you have an introduction to your readers and you encourage them to send you their email to get on your subscription list. Again, more words. And then your final request for people to leave feedback. This is 2 or 3 paragraphs. That is close to 300 or 400 words. And the average book length continues to build. So typically, the average book length is different than how long your story is. And there are other ways to build in more words. One of the things we see is people fall short of a minimum of 12,000 words for their book. When you're talking romance, you really do want that minimum cutoff of 12,000 words, and your maximum can be in the 30,000s if you want it to. But the question might be, how do I get more words for your book? And how do these words go into my story and into my book and make a difference for my reader? It's not just about padding your words. It's not about padding your romance book. It's about giving your readers value when they purchase your book on Kindle. And this is super important to think about when you're putting together your romance book. Here are some suggestions. Use your outline. When you put your outline together to start with your book, there may be nuances in the outline that you didn't use. Go back and check it out. Make sure you've used everything you thought of when you originally put your outline together. Consider additional dialogue. Additional dialogue between friends, family, even if your character's talking to their dog. Again, more places where you can build in some dialogue. Scene enhancements. A perfect example of this is if you're talking about Mount Rushmore, perhaps stopping and pondering which is the best president when it was carved into the rock. You're enhancing your scene ever so slightly. Flashbacks for your characters. Talking about how things once were for your character and how comparison it is today. You could create your character development further by defining what they are currently wearing, what they're driving in, what their car model is, how they meet their friends, if they have any picadillos. Flash forwards, dreaming on how things could be. Daydreaming is a wonderful tool when it comes to building in new scenes and offering more value to your readers. Another opportunity is longer introduction for your book. Introducing your characters every time that you write a book in your series. This will allow you the chance to re-establish your characters, and your reader will like to be refreshed. An elaborate table of contents. If you build in your table of contents correctly, you could add more powerful words, and of course that's going to help you sell your book too. And finally, a sneak peek of the next book in the series. Give a little teaser, and make that teaser have punch so that your reader goes, wow, this is awesome, this is where the book is going next, and I want to see that. So how does your book length translate into being a 5-part series? When you're thinking about writing a romance novel, you need to be thinking about writing a romance series, and that's what this course is about, why you need to put together a series to make money. Now, how does that translate when you think about book length? The bottom line is your readers need to be satisfied to continue the story. If your book ends on an unsatisfactory level, your readers will not buy your next book. It's just not going to happen. You haven't hooked them. There's no interest. They've stopped in where they are to go forward. One way of doing that is finding out if your characters are left in peril, perhaps relationship issues, personal conflicts, changes to what they're typically seen. These bring in readers, and readers stop and think, I want to know what happens next. Another possibility, characters moving on to a new chapter in their lives. From a divorce to a new romance. From a death in the family to finding someone new to live with. These are really great chapters to move forward in their lives, and of course, part of a book series. Of course, there's always the more traditional next generations of a family story, where you complete a romance of a mother, perhaps the daughter picks up the romance, or some comparison, a daughter-granddaughter. These are ways you can translate your book into a 5-part series. The bottom line is your length of your book needs to provide readers with a satisfactory ending. They have to walk away and believe that they didn't waste their time reading your book. That the 2 hours or 3 hours sitting down and immersing themselves into your characters was with some value, so that they will continue to read your next book.